Sorry about that, emergency call. But I figure if I wait till 5 o'clock, it's going to be too late. It'll be solid as a brick. So this is coming out now. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. And it's pulling completely away from the silicone. I made a design, a couple of lines in the center and on the sides, in the middle of the swirl. I figured that way, if it's split, that gives it a fault line to split upon, and then if it didn't go back down, it looked like I did it on purpose. But as you could tell, it did split in the center, in fact, and settled back in that same spot. So I'm going to have to remember to make a little fault line for soaps I know tend to split from now on. Alrighty then. That is so pretty. I should have had this idea a long time ago. But I am still going to have my miter box ready just in case, because whenever you have a soap that hardens as fast, so forth and so on, you know, I timed it and everything, but 90% of times when I make my soaps, I head off to work or head off to bed and put the soap to sleep, so forth and so on, and I'm not going to be right there to catch it when it reaches this point, okay? Usually, waiting 24 hours is sufficient, but with this being a coconut-based soap, that's not always the case. That's hot. But guess what? Went clean through. And you can see it's still a little warm. That will actually continue to get hard. It might actually get solid while I'm doing this. But hey, you do what you do. Yep. Okie dokie. Let's adjust my wire there. And this is forcing me to move faster than I'm used to. As we can see in the center, it's not completely solid. But that's fine. As long as it's solid enough to cut, I'm going to cut it. Then when it gets hard as a brick, as it is wont to do, it can do it as a sliced bar, as opposed to, oh, let me break a wire, let me compromise a cutter, so forth and so on. Hold on. Okay, let's just lift it up. There we go. Even with the center being gel, that's hard to cut. So, second option. Alrighty then. Let's line this up. Okay, and as you can tell, on this side, it's going back to being solid as opposed to a little gel in the middle. Okay. So, let's get it popping, shall we? I'm going to hold my hand right here so that way it can't slide back. And these lines, because soap tends to gel from the inside out, will not be here when the soap finishes hardening and all that, because this tends to be a pure white bar of soap. Okay. I even got a slice that time for a sample. And believe it or not, it's still warm to the touch. I just wanted to see if it could be done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a slice. In other words, these soaps are now the right size. Yes. And consistent. And if I can, I'm going to turn this into a rosette. I doubt it because it's already getting very, very hard. Nope, that is not going to make a rosette. In fact, it just broke. So somebody can have this as a sample. I was hoping the heat would allow it to curl. This one almost made a rosette, but it's starting to get very, very solid very, very quickly. So, if nothing else, that will go in my shred box. I do have I call it the shred box, so that way when I go to make laundry soap or whatever, those are soaps I don't have to grate because they're already in pieces. Now, let's see. Just by the time I cut that, it's gotten, almost pure white. That one might take a few minutes. It's still extremely hot to the touch. That one is cooling off. By the time these are cool, in fact, let me just smooth that down. But by the time these are cool, they will be pure white. This is the same recipe this came from. Okay, the only difference is this smells like lavender. And it's going to have the smaller butterfly stamped on it, so that way, because they have to be stored in the same curing box, but that way I'll be able to tell the difference between the lavender. See, that butterfly goes like that. But I'll be able to tell the difference between the lavender and the peppermint. I drew a blank on which one I made. I do make this soap in several scents. There's peppermint, because at our house we like peppermint. There's cherry overload that this soap was made in. That was custom order, but it went over so well that, that stayed in the line. Lavender flowers, which smells exactly like a lavender flower. And when I went outside, this bee kept chasing me around my porch. Jumped off the porch, ran back on. It was a relentless little bug. And I also make this in grapefruit, and I make it in unscented. At one point in time, I made this with a fresh poured coffee scent. It's like whatever's around at the time I decided to make dish bar soap or dish soap bar, that might be a scent on the dish soap bar. A lot of times we more or less use citrus, like citrus and sage, grapefruit. It's like whatever you imagine, dish soap to smell like, I can make that scent. One person asked me for green apple, and at the time I couldn't find a green apple, but now I know where to get that scent. So there might actually be a green apple scented dish soap bar at some point in time. But in the meantime, just seeing if it can be done. So I basically know if I'm not going to be home to cut this within 2 hours, literally 2:30 pour is 4:30. By 4:45, I noticed it was literally pure white all over again. And that allowed me to cut it. And even at that, it didn't quite get all the way through the cutter on a couple of the bars, so I had to go back to that. I know if I don't have that kind of time to just sit there and wait, I'm just going to automatically use my miter box and blade, speaking of which, I'm going to put that up, or I'm going to use the individual modes, which I have ordered, but they have not arrived yet. And I'm going to adjust my recipe accordingly, because here I have 9 bars, here I have 11 bars. When the new mode gets here, I'll see how much it holds capacity-wise, and then that will be the new size and shape of the dish soap bar, because that will be what I make it in from now on. So y'all stay blessed, stay tuned. Thank you for joining me on my experiment. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out my folks at peepla.etsy.com and my blog at purplebutterfly-peepla.blogspot.com. Bye now.